Welcome. Today's video is about self-improvement versus life engagement. Why I don't think that self-improvement is necessarily the most helpful paradigm to come from, and this idea of life engagement is a more helpful framework to use. So with that said, let's crack into it. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is describe self-improvement, how people get into self-improvement, and what are its drawbacks. So self-improvement. The way that people get into self-improvement, it tends to go something like this. They look at their life, or they look at themselves, and the person basically isn't happy, right? The person looks at certain things that they're doing, perhaps, or certain results that they're getting. Perhaps they look at other people and their results and they compare them. And for whatever reason, they're just not very happy with where they are. So what they conclude, or what, an underlying assumption is that I'm not good enough. I need to be improved. Okay. Let's say the person is lazy. They may think, therefore, that laziness is a part of who they are, and that in order to address this issue, they need to change who they are, right? They need to improve themselves. And this seems very logical, right? It seems a very logical way of approaching the situation. But it does have its drawbacks. People, when they start on this self-improvement journey, often after a while tend to burn out, right? They may look online for resources. They may look in books. They may look in audio programs and all the rest. But eventually they burn out and they backslide. Why does this so often happen? Well, there's a couple of main reasons. Firstly, if you're coming from a framework that you need to be improved, then you're actually training your brain to always need more and always to be improving and never be satisfied with what you've got. So this is why people are into self-improvement when they get to a certain place, are often dissatisfied because their brain has been trained to, think, I need to be improved even more. So they get to that place and then they want to improve even more. So they're not very satisfied where they are. And they get to the next place, not very satisfied, get to the next place, and they burn out, right? So that's one way, because they're training their own neurology to think in a certain way. But another reason why people who do self-improvement tend to burn out is simply that because the underlying framework is one of I'm not good enough, it's just negative self-talk that actually harms the process of them feeling like they want to feel and getting to where they want to go, right? If the underlying assumption is I need to be improved, I need to do this, then that's just not very healthy, right? But it can happen at a more subconscious level. It's a very insidious kind of way that doing self-improvement can negatively affect you. So what's the alternative? If you might say, well, look, I'm very lazy, I'm overweight, I'm unemployed, I don't have the resources that I want to have, and everyone else is doing better than me. If I'm not going to improve myself, how am I going to get to where I want to go? Like, what? I obviously need improving. That might be the objection. But this is where I'd like to introduce this idea of life engagement. Now, life engagement is a paradigm which, instead of the question that is asked being, how can I improve myself? The question that's asked is, how can I engage with life? What actions can I take that can help me move in the direction I want to go, right? It's kind of a subtle distinction. But if you notice, for example, firstly, it's not as self-oriented. It's more to do with actions, right? Secondly, it's looking at life and the external and the world rather than looking inwards. And it's just more practical because it's asking, what actions should I take? And of course, the other thing is, as I said, there's no negative self-judgment involved, because the negative self-judgment, people often think that they're making negative self-judgments because they have this problem like I'm lazy, whereas in fact the negative self-judgment itself is part of the problem. Okay? Now, does this mean that you should therefore just go and be lazy? No, not at all, right? If you're lazy, that's a situation which you can address, but you address it by engaging with life in such a way that laziness naturally filters out, right? So this can come from things like setting up good habits. It can come from things like just taking practical steps to make it less likely that you're going to be lazy, right? But notice that it's not coming from a place of, I'm a lazy person, I need to fix that about myself because the laziness is part of who I am. So that's the life engagement paradigm. So how does one make this shift? Well, to start with, stop beating yourself up, because what this is, if you're beating yourself up to try and move forward, is it's a form of negative motivation. And I've got another video about this, and the basic, I'll link down to it in the description. And the basic idea is that negative motivation is unsustainable and won't make you happy, right? Instead, try and come from a more inspired place and a more intrinsically motivated place, and a kind of action-oriented place. And that's where life engagement, which is what I'm going to be talking a lot more about on this channel, is about things like time management. It's things about it's things like setting up habits in such a way that it's not coming from this neurotic place, but it's coming from a place of choosing to engage with life because you want to, and because you enjoy it, and because we don't know exactly what life is all about, and you only get one life as far as we know, so why not choose to engage with it? And that's basically the distinction. That's basically it. Now, I know I haven't offered a comprehensive guide on how to make this shift from self-improvement to life engagement, but a good place to start would be to just become more aware of your kind of self-talk. Are you thinking, I need to do this, I need to do that, I'm not I'm not good enough for this, other people are better than me than that? Just becoming aware of that, and starting to notice where your actions are coming from a place of feeling like you need to better yourself, and then asking the question, how can I set up my life such that I go in the direction that I want to go in, but not from this neurotic place of needing to get there, or needing to push myself too hard or not be too balanced, or try and go so quickly because I'm so flipping behind. No, you just ask, how do I want to engage with life? What are the strategies I can implement? How can I be smart? How can I be strategic? And what are the things I need to do? And that's basically it. So I want to thank you for watching today. I hope this video has been useful for you. And I will see you next time. I don't know why I just said that so slowly like I did. Yeah, see you next time. Peace.